Anything. We're watching the procession of Raila's body remains to Kasarani, where the public is expected to be viewing the body. This was a change that came in after they realized that the viewing cannot be done at the Parliament building because the crowds were so immense. The crowds were so immense, and they couldn't hold them at the Parliament's building. The Parliament's building was too small for that. And that is why they decided to carry it along to Kasarani. That is Moi International Stadium, Kasarani. That is where the viewing will be done. And as you can see, people are flooding in, flooding in. The viewing was expected to start as early as 12 noon and end at 5 p.m. But as it goes now, it might take a very long time before the viewing ends because most people are coming in, people are flocking in, and you can see they decided to take a road drive, to use the road to drive the remains of Raila Amolo Odinga to Kasarani. And personally, I would have said if they would have flown the body there, that could have been easier. The body will be ready there. But I know his supporters, Raila supporters, decided that they are going to walk along with Raila on the road up to Kasarani because he is a hero that most of the Kenyans believe and look unto. A mentor, a father, both biologically and politically. He has mentored a lot. He has fought for Kenya. He has fought for the country Kenya in very many places. Very many aspects of life. He is the father of democracy and the father of multi-partyism in this country. Is one thing that most of the Kenyans will remember Raila with, and what he has done much for this country. And that is why you can see there is much has never been experienced before. You'll ask other people, they will tell you that even during the death of Mourn, this was not experienced. The death of Kijano Amalwa, it was not as much as it is. The death of Saitoti, it was not much as we are seeing today. And mark you, Raila is not the president. He is not the president of Kenya. He is just the opposition. He is the opposition head, and see how much Kenyans loved Raila so much, and they are here flocking into Kasarani. This might take time, not as expected, because on the other screens we can see that Kasarani is already full. Kasarani is already full. The field itself is already full, and the people who are outside are more than the people who are inside. So it's gonna crowd, and as they expected this to be a very small thing, or a very short time happening, it's gonna take a toll on them, and it might take more time than we expected, or than the funeral committee expected it to happen. It's the viewing of Raila's body at Kasarani Stadium, and there are more people who have already joined, who are already in Kasarani Stadium. There are more people who are still finding their way to Kasarani Stadium. It's very much chaotic because of the crowds. Even the motorcade that is carrying Raila's body is yet to make its entry into Kasarani. And as we can see on the other screens, that Kasarani Stadium itself is already full. Kasarani Stadium itself is already full. Very, very, very full. Kasarani Stadium itself is very, very, very full. Yes, you can see that is the vehicle that is carrying Raila's body, making its way to Kasarani. Yeah, it's making its way to Kasarani Stadium. There is a lot that is happening. You can see the multitudes, the crowds of people that are getting themselves to Kasarani. And when you look at Kasarani, the camera that we are checking on to see what's happening in Kasarani is the crowds have already filled the Kasarani Stadium, and we still have more people who are making we have to remain strong enough to see. These are the die-hard followers. I don't want to say fans, because Raila was not a celeb, so he had no fans, but he had followers, people who supported his call, people who supported his passion, people who supported his work of defending the country and standing for democracy. And that's why we are saying that Kenya has lost one of the best, a person who cannot be replaced, a leader that no one can replace. Though there are speculations of what people feel like should be a replacement in the ODM party, but we'll say that what ODM has seen and the gap that has been left by Raila Amolo Odinga, we don't have anyone living now to replace that gap. We have no any other Raila currently. Kenya is mourning, Africa is mourning, and the world at large is mourning. Kenya is mourning patriotic leader. Kenya is mourning someone who has fought for the rights of Kenyans. Kenya is mourning a leader. Kenya is mourning a father. Kenya is mourning a revolutionist. And Kenya is mourning a father of democracy and multipartyism. Kenya is mourning a hero. A hero has gone. A hero has gone. A hero has gone. what you're seeing are some tear gases to just disperse the crowd that is following up, to pave a way for a better entrance of Raila Amolo Odinga to Kasarani Sports grounds. You see, with that multitude, it would have been very much not easy for the body to get itself into Kasarani. So they are just trying to make sure that there's a very good clearance for the body of Raila Amolo Odinga to get itself into Kasarani, and that is why you can hear voices, sounds of tear gas. As I said, on our next camera, we can see that Kasarani itself is already full because there are very many people in the stadium already. A bit chaotic, but it's necessary because the entourage, the body of Raila Odinga has to make its way to the stadium, and the easiest way would be if they continue walking at the pace of each and every person. It will be very much harder. It will be very much harder for the body to get itself into the Kasarani Stadium, more international stadium. So they at least have to disperse some people and to make it clear, a way clear for the body to get to Kasarani Stadium, and that is why you've had some tear gas canisters exploding just to make a way for that. And as I said earlier, if it were for me, I would have flown the body of Raila Amolo Odinga to Kasarani. That would have been much easier because the pressure that is now, because of the multitudes of the people that are following up with it, it's way too much, and it will slow up the entourage and slow up the rest of the process. But if the body would have been flown into Kasarani, it would have been much easier. That they will be in Kasarani currently. I think we will have some interruptions on our stream. We'll have some interruptions on our stream. Kindly bear with us. We would have really wished to give you the best streaming and the best quality, but we have some problems with the cameras because of those tear gas canisters that have been halted. Yeah, the body is making its way to Kasarani. That is the body of the late Raila Amolo Odinga, Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, the second Prime Minister of the Republic of Kenya. That is his body. I said whatever happened was possible because they needed a way into the stadium, and if they would have stayed with the caravan of the people, of the multitudes, they wouldn't be in the stadium currently. So it was far much necessary. It was far much necessary for them to get themselves to the stadium, and that is it. It was far much necessary for them to get themselves to the stadium. It was far much necessary for them to get themselves to the stadium, so they had to make their way to the stadium, and the body is in the stadium already. We're just waiting to get ourselves to there. See, that's the commotion that is still on the way. The authorities trying to make it possible. The authorities trying to make it possible. The authorities are trying to make it possible, a possible entry to the stadium. The authorities are trying to make the possible plan. As we said earlier, Kenya is mourning, Africa is mourning, East Africa is mourning, and the world at large is mourning. A legendary leader, a Pan-Africanist, someone who brought social democracy in Kenya, in Africa, and the world at large. A name that when mentioned in the field of politics, everyone bows down to respect it. A name that highly is held in the hearts of many leaders, many people. A name that many loves because he is a father, biological father, and he is a father, a political father, and a leader to very many people. Someone who has been there for people in politics. Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, the second Prime Minister of Kenya, the Odium Party leader, a man of people, a man strongly loved by each and every person. We're talking about Raila Amolo Odinga. As his body gets to KASARANI Stadium. Poor sana Isaiah, thank you so much, Isaiah. I'm available, bro. I'm very much available. Thank you so much, brother Isaiah. Hi to brother Isaiah. Hi to brother Isaiah. Early enough, we saw the casket carrying the remains of Raila Amolo Odinga being transported to the stadium, and that is where we are. We're still waiting to have the images of what is happening inside the stadium. You saw some tear gas canisters being halted at some of the followers who are really derailing the convoy of the vehicles that were carrying the remains of Raila Amolo Odinga to the stadium. They were dispersed, and we are now looking into getting ourselves into the stadium and try to get what's really happening within that stadium. All in all, we all understand that Kenya has lost a key leader. Kenya has lost a father. Kenya has lost a person who champions for democracy who has been championing for democracy within the country.
That Odinga won the 2007 elections, and of course the ugly spectre which had engulfed the country in the aftermath of that. Let's cross over to the KASARANI Stadium.
Yeah, that is how KASARANI Stadium looks like. It's heavy and it's crowded. I told you that the people who are already in the stadium are very many, and I don't know, it's going beyond the capacity of the stadium. The stadium capacity is 68,000 people, if I'm not wrong, but what we are having in now, it's more than the capacity. And as we are told, back on the road, Speaker Road, there are very many other people who are still flocking into the stadium, ready to just see or have their eyes on the remains of Raila Amolo Odinga. That is the former Prime Minister of Kenya, the opposition leader, the father of democracy, as most politicians will say. And he himself, who was the father of multipartyism, a man who bears the scars of struggles after struggles for his own country. And most of the leaders will now accept that he is one man who was so selfless, who wanted the best for the country, who wanted to see Kenya grow and become the best country ever. But unfortunately, he never had the privilege of becoming that person he really wanted to become. So we will never ever know how much he would have changed this country, because he never was the man that he really wanted to be. He has fought for the nation. He has fought for this country. He has made every sacrifice possible for this country. But all in all, it's today that the country is celebrating his works. The country is celebrating. KASARANI Stadium is full, as we said, full to capacity. We are not so sure where the rest of the people who are coming in will be. And I don't know what mode of viewing they will use to make sure that every Kenyan has his eye, every Kenyan who is in the stadium has his eye on the remains of Right Honorable Raila's body. I think they will use more of screening. They will use screening for every Kenyans to see. That will be an appropriate mean of them trying to make sure that at least each and every person has his eyes on Raila Amolo, the remains of Raila Amolo Odinga, because it's really crowded. And if we say that they will queue for people to see one by one, that will be impossible, not close to impossible, but very much impossible. So I wish they had a better plan for this. I wish they had a better plan for this. And erected bigger screens that could give the Kenyans a better view of the remains of Raila Amolo Odinga. But currently, as it is, it will be very difficult for these people to queue and see the body one by one, because the crowd is out of control, and it will be hard for the crowd to be controlled and be brought into order for the viewing in terms of queue. Earlier enough, remember yesterday the Deputy President Kithure Kindiki had announced that the public viewing in Nairobi will be done at the Parliament houses. But that was very much impossible because number one, of the number of the people who came in. So if these are the number of people who would have come to town to view the remains of Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, it would have been impossible for any other activities to happen within the city or within the CBD. And this was one of the reasons to why they opted to take the body to KASARANI for the public viewing. Reason number two, if again you've seen how long it has taken for them to get themselves to KASARANI, because there were multitudes of people who were escorting the entourage that was carrying Raila's remains to KASARANI, and they were slowing up because they wanted to walk slowly with Raila, Raila as they take him celebrating his works and really mourning that we've lost a very key person in this country, and that has made it so slow. Remember, the viewing was to start at 12 noon and end at between 3 and 5, but now it's 3 p.m. already, 6 minutes to 3 p.m. already, and the viewing hasn't started yet. People are still flocking in. We just saw like a few minutes ago when the remains of the body of Raila Amolo Odinga was being was entering the stadium, and that is what we are looking into now. So there are very many other people. We might not really get on what's happening inside there, but we keep you updated on the pictures. With the pictures that are coming in the studio is your host Alan Hoy, bringing you this live from wherever I am and wherever you are. We're making sure that you won't miss anything that you're supposed to know, that you're supposed to understand on what is really happening in KASARANI Stadium. For now, we get ourselves back there and see whatever's happening there entirely. We say rest in peace, Raila Amolo Odinga. We loved you as Kenyans, and we would have wished for you to stay longer and at least bring to completion all the works that you started. But we are not God to decide for you. All we can wish you is well from wherever you are. Wishing all the best for your family and praying that God will give them courage to continue the struggles that you began, and praying that Kenya will be at peace at this moment, making sure that everything works as it is supposed to be, peace reigning in every corner of this country. That is the Kenyans who are really, that is at KASARANI Stadium, sorry. That is the number of Kenyans who are at Nyayo KASARANI Stadium, sorry for that. Very many of them, it's full to its capacity, and still on the roads, more Kenyans are coming in. Still more Kenyans on the road coming in, and they're all coming in just to view the body of Raila Amolo Odinga and pay him last respect. It won't be easy for this crowd to be controlled. It won't be easy for this crowd to be controlled. And Makil, this is just today. Remember, the body of Raila Amolo Odinga just landed into the country today. That is from India, where he had gone to receive specialized treatment. And unfortunately, he did not make it out of the hospital. As doctors tried the much they can to make sure that they give him another chance to breathe, but it was impossible for that one to happen. And that is what has led to what we are seeing in KASARANI currently, as Kenyans gather to pay last respect to Raila Amolo Odinga. Sorry for the interruption. As Kenyans gather to give their last respect to Raila Amolo Odinga. So what do you think will happen tomorrow during the service at Nyayo Stadium? Will Nyayo Stadium be able to hold all these people? Because now most people have traveled from different places to come to Nairobi and experience. I probably think that most of the county governments will have to erect places where people can watch from, because if everyone has to travel to Nairobi, then it will be very much chaotic within the city. And if most people have to travel to Bondo again to experience the burial ceremony of the late Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, it will be so much chaotic in Bondo County. It will be so much chaotic in Bondo. And what will be happening in Kisumu, we don't know which measure the government will use to try to bring all those people in Kisumu into order. This is what had just happened in a few minutes or a few hours, to at most 3 hours. And this is a crowd of people that have been already gathered just to come in and pay their respect to Raila Amolo Odinga. And most of the people are still coming in every minute. They are flocking in each and every minute. So what will be happening tomorrow in Kisumu, now that people will be prepared to go for the funeral? I believe it will be very much hard for order to be there within this time. This is the love that people had for Raila. So these are the people who are in the stadium already. The stadium is already full. The stadium is completely full. You can see every space is covered. You can see that every space is covered. You can see that every space is covered. Yeah, those are the people who are in the stadium already, very crowded. We're sorry for the network issues, hoping that it will be back sooner. Remember, these are Kenyans of all calibers, leaders, commoners. Every citizen has gathered today to pay their last respect to Raila Amolo Odinga. Yeah, that is what is happening in KASARANI currently. Back to the studio, your host Alan Hoy, who is the voice that is behind the work that is happening. As we said earlier, this is just the multitudes of the people that have gathered already in Kasarani to pay their last respect to Raila Amolo Odinga. And this has happened within a very, very short time. We're expecting much to happen and more people to gather in. The question is, will Nyayo Stadium be able to hold the multitudes of people that will be coming in for the funeral service of Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, the former and the second Prime Minister of Kenya? Will it be able to hold all these multitudes? We're sorry for the network issues, but we'll be taking you back to the stadium to get to understand what is really happening in the stadium currently. But that is where we are, and I remember that in Nairobi, the public viewing was scheduled to happen today. Previously, it was, or earlier yesterday, you had the Deputy President Kithure Kindiki announcing that the public viewing will be done as from 12 to 5 p.m., 12 noon to 5 p.m., and that will be held at the Parliament buildings. But unfortunately, that hasn't been possible because of the crowds and the multitudes of people who came forth to pay their last respect to Raila Amolo Odinga. And because of that, the funeral committee decided to change the viewing venue to Kasarani Stadium, hoping that the stadium will be able to at least hold the most of the multitudes of the people who are coming in. But again, as from the photos that we're receiving on this end, is that the stadium is already full to its capacity, but there are still more people who are outside who are making their way to the stadium, leaving us with a question. Will it really be able, leaving us with a question asking, will it be able to hold all these people who are coming in for today? I'll be glad to take you back there for us to get to know what's really happening within the stadium. But there are no more activities that are happening there. Just people standing, waiting for orders, waiting for instructions on what will happen next. And the question I wanted to ask, and I'd like you to answer me on this, is the public viewing was to be made in a way that at least each and every person passes and sees the body, the remainings of the body of late Raila Amolo Odinga. As usual, you saw what happened with Moi. The body was there, and people were passing in to see the body of the later former and later President Moi. That is where it was. People are passing by to watch and see. But I thought maybe that is the plan that they had for Raila Amolo Odinga, but now that plan will not work and cannot work with these multitudes of people who have gathered. If one person has to pass to view and after the other, like if they have to make queues for people to see this, it will be, I think, it will be late, and it will not make any sense because not all of the people will be able to see. So my advice would have been, if the government knew that this could have happened, I hope maybe they could have erected bigger screens in major cities, like Nairobi, in major cities and different positions in the city where people could have viewed the body from, or rather calling them to come and view, because it's becoming unbearable for the government itself, for the authorities to bring these people into order for them to be able to view the body. And this is just Nairobi in a period of maybe 2 days, a period of few hours, because the body of Raila landed into Kenya today mid-morning, and this is the crowd that has been pulled together to view the body. What about tomorrow at Nyayo Stadium? Previously announced by the Deputy President Kithure Kindiki. That is where the body, also the funeral service, the service within Nairobi will be done. And what about Bondo, where the normal service will be, the burial service will be done? How many people will be there to see to experience the service and say final goodbye to the late Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga? What about Kisumu on Saturday? Will they be able to hold on to this and bring order there? And that is why I'm saying it's much easier. It will be easier for them to erect those screens almost everywhere in the stadium and everywhere in the city, to just make sure that the people who are coming in can be able to view the body of Raila Amolo Odinga in a very, very, very easy and ample way. But if this is what will be happening there, and then I'm afraid that much will not be done in Kisumu. That is on Saturday. This is your reporter Alan Hoy, reporting for Alan Hoy TV. Let me take you back to Kasarani, and we get to have the photos and the images of what is happening in Kasarani currently, because that is the most important aspect. I was just trying to break down all these things to you for you to have an understanding of what is really happening and what should happen. So allow me to take you back to Kasarani Stadium, and you get to know or see whatever is happening there within a very, very, very short time. We're sorry for the inconveniences because of our network issues there. So there we go back to Kasarani Stadium. We're sorry for the network issues. But as you can see, Kasarani Stadium is already full to its capacity. It's already full to its capacity. But again, you're seeing more Kenyans coming in. Kasarani Stadium is already full to capacity, but we're seeing more Kenyans coming in. So we are not so sure what will happen in the next 4 hours or 5 hours. Will Kasarani be able to hold the capacity of those people who are coming in to give their last respect to Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga? Will Kasarani Stadium be able to hold the capacity of the followers of Raila Amolo Odinga who are flocking in to give him his last respect? Sorry, we have a problem with the network issues getting the feed from Kasarani Stadium so far, but we are working on that. Our technical team is working on that. We'll be soon getting those feeds as they're supposed to be. So we are really sorry for that. But we're giving you updates on what's happening in Kasarani Stadium in connection to the celebration of the life well lived of the late Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga that is currently happening in Kasarani National Stadium. I remember the public viewing was to happen at the Parliament building. That is what they had suggested earlier. The leadership of the day had suggested earlier, and it was announced by the Deputy President Kithure Kindiki that the viewing will be done at the Parliament building, but so far it wasn't able because of the crowds of the people that had gathered to see the body of Raila Amolo Odinga. Let me take you back to the stadium. Sorry for the network issues again. Every moment we are going back to the stadium, there's always a problem with the network. So we have to come back to the studios and give you updates from here. We're seeing that they are trying to create some order within the stadium to bring people to order and maybe put them in one place and make sure that there is more space for other activities, but it will be hard, as we said earlier, for maybe authorities to bring these people to order because it was I think they were not well prepared for this, and this is not how much they expected that people will come in. But unfortunately, for the love of Raila Amolo Odinga, most of his supporters are not, most of his supporters, I can't say all of his supporters because he has a country-wide followers, and those who are in today are just those from Nairobi. Let me take you back to the stadium. So the celebration is the life of the well-lived life of Raila Amolo Odinga, who is the late now, who succumbed during his medical visit in India. He had gone to India for treatment, but unfortunately he did not make it. And Kenyans have gathered to pay their tribute to him. A lot of issues in the stadium. Yes, we said this would be expected. For whatever reason, it was to be expected. For whatever reason, such was to be expected because it's not easy for the government to bring all these people to order within this very short time. But we will call Kenyans themselves to bring themselves to order because we want peace, and that is what Raila would have wanted. That is what the late Raila would have wanted. And every time there have been chaos, he has come in to bring peace. He has come in to bring peace. Wherever there have been chaos, you have come in to bring peace. So we're just requesting Kenyans to be peaceful, even at this time, and make him happy from wherever he is. If we all stand together in unity and peace. Yeah, we have some runnings done. Some people falling down. Let's hope that there won't be a stampede that can cause problems. Let's hope that there won't be a stampede that can cause problems. Let me take you back to the field. That is what is really happening. People are running up and down. Tear gas canisters are going on. There are people who are on the ground. Let me hope all is well with them. bit of drama here and there in the stadium. Yeah, they're just trying to create space. Just trying to create space. Just trying to create space within. It's not so interesting to see what's happening in the field now. If you guys can check out, this is what's really happening there now. A lot of tear gas. Uh, a lot of tear gas. This is just one side of the stadium. That is one side of the stadium, and you see some other people running out, going in and out. In the next camera, the people who are coming in, no, who are leaving the stadium literally, Some people are leaving the stadium literally, and some are coming in. So those are the images of what's happening in the stadium. Those are the images of what is happening in the stadium. Chaos within the stadium, and some people are leaving the stadium now. Some people are leaving the stadium and some people are coming in. You can see them. Those people are leaving the stadium. These are leaving the stadium. And the stadium is kind of empty within a very short time. The stadium is kind of empty within a very, very short time. We don't really know what is happening inside the stadium, but we'll give you updates. Give you updates on what's happening in the stadium. There are those who are leaving. The stadium is empty now. There have been scaffolds here and there. On the next camera, the stadium that had very many people gathered in one place, it's now kind of empty, and the only people you can see roaming around the stadium are the men in suits, men in black, and they are kind of giving some instructions, probably sending people out. You can see how fast they are trying to send the crowds out. We don't really know what is happening there, but maybe we'll keep you updated with our teams on the ground. We'll be able to know what's happening there. That is one of the cameras that is not working, being blocked. And that is the field itself. It's very, 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 very empty. The stadium that was like 5 minutes ago full of people, it's now empty. We are not so sure of what will be happening next. We don't know what will be happening next, but maybe this could bring some order within the stadium. Yeah, as we said earlier, there is a tear gas that has been halted. That is was to disperse the surging crowds. The same thing I was talking about earlier. If they cannot control the crowds now, will they be able to control the crowds on Saturday, tomorrow, and on Saturday? And will it be possible for them to control those crowds on Sunday? Will they be able to control those crowds? Today, it's more of a it was more of an unplanned way of trying to make this thing work. It was more of an unplanned way of trying to make it work, but so far so good. Yeah, the police have lobbed tear gas among the guys who had came, the Kenyan citizens who had come to view and give the last respect to Raila Amolo Odinga, and that was maybe to disperse the crowds that were surging in the stadium. As we said earlier, the stadium is able to hold over 68,000, but we hope those who are in are more than that number, and that is the reason why they had to clear away. And uh, within a very short time, the crowds have already dispersed. Within a very short time, the crowd has already dispersed. Let's hear what
gathered here at KASARANI Stadium. There was a bit of a stampede, and most of them actually ran towards the exit. So if you look at the exit places, and especially next to Gate 4 and Gate 3, that is where majority of the people are currently standing. When you look on behind the presidential pavilion, there's still a number of vehicles here belonging to some of these leaders that were inside. We're trying to just say, and earlier, what we saw is some of these ODM leaders had tried to reach out and speak to try and just calm down the was getting agitated. I've been here from right around the time that here, which is around 12 p.m. Now, you will remember that the viewing was supposed to happen at Parliament, but because of the crowd there and the very poor crowd control that we saw there, that same crowd had to move back to this side once they got the news that the viewing was supposed to happen right here at the KASARANI Stadium. Now, but as soon as we got here, that is around a few minutes after midday, that is when we found the police and the security operators here at the KASARANI Stadium just trying to come up with a strategy and planning themselves. However, a few minutes after we got here, there was slowly building. If you remember from the link that I had done earlier on, we just got into the stadium. The crowd was still very manageable, so there was an opportunity to try and control this crowd better. However, that opportunity was missed because as the security operators were still getting their acts together, the crowd kept on. And so they ended up getting into the stadium through all the entrance that they could find, and slowly onto the now. Ideally, what told the plan was for them to get into the stadium, that is between Gate 9 and Gate 10, and walk around the stadium, view the body right down, right on the field level. That is where the viewing was supposed to happen, straight on across from the presidential pavilion, and they were supposed to walk straight into Gate 4 and exit through that gate. However, before even the barrier could be set up, the crowd kept on increasing, and so it became a nightmare. It became very evident that the security operators were not ready to receive this crowd that was building. But then so the crowd went on, and we saw a number of leaders from the ODM party that were already here. They tried to speak to them just to try and get them to calm down, to try and get them to be patient. However, there has been no communication from the leaders that are currently here. We have tried to, we're hoping that at least there would be a bit of a direction to be given. And right above me, I can see former Chief Justice, that is David Maraga, who's also taken cover in the VIP area. And so that just goes to show you that no one was spared in this chaos that we have witnessed a few minutes ago. So there was a bit of tear gas that has been lost, and what is believed to be either live or rubber bullets that was they're trying to make sure in crowd that was really buzzing and asking to know what is the way forward. We will try also to, if we can, able to speak to some of the youth. However, that will have to wait until later on so that we can understand why what triggered that. But from where we were shooting from and from where we were standing together with our so Alachi is that our entire team is okay. That is my camera person, my camera colleague, and also our colleagues from Inoro and Ramogi. We are all safe, so no one needs to worry about us. We're okay. We're just taking cover. So based on that, we will try to understand. We haven't seen any of the leaders leave yet. Right where I'm standing, what I can be able to see is that all the leaders are still here based on the number of their vehicles, and all their assistants are still here. You can see a number of them just speaking to each other. It is, however, what we do not know is what is the way forward. Is there are Kenyans going to be allowed then to go ahead and view this body and pay their last respect or not? Because from all indications here is that this is likely to happen. However, there has been no communication. Now, I will take you back. The public address vehicle, the president, side of the field, but we saw some of these vehicles being attacked. Initially, playing a bit of me, just
just make sure just make sure you serve from where you are, and make sure you take cover, because we will still want you in your good health. And that is what has just happened. So we are not yet to understand what will be happening next, and the next direction that the government will give. Will the citizens of Kenya go ahead and view the body, the remains of the body of Raila Amolo Odinga, or will it? What will they do next? Because we are getting into the late hours of the day, and that is one things might not be able to happen within that time. And that is tomorrow when the Deputy President Kithure Kindiki said that there will be a service that will be held at Nyayo Stadium tomorrow, in reference to the late former Prime Minister of Kenya, Raila Amolo Odinga. So will that be possible, or what are we gonna do in this? Because it's not really working as most people expected. Yeah, we're receiving calls from different directions. I get to hear that one was not to be played over here. But as we said earlier, we don't know the direction that the government is giving on this, because will the Kenyans be able to see the body of Raila Amolo Odinga? And if all these people who had gathered will queue to see the body of the late Raila Amolo Odinga, how long will it take for them to be able to see to view the body? And which plan is the government coming up with to make sure that there is an uninterrupted way to view the body? What about tomorrow? This has just happened within a very, very short time, a very, very, very short time. A very short time, and all this has happened. What do you think will happen next? What do you think will happen tomorrow? Because most of the people have prepared themselves, and my cue tomorrow is a holiday. It has been given as a public holiday for all the Kenyans to come and gather and pay their last respect to Raila Amolo Odinga, especially those who are in Nairobi. How many people will be gathered? How many people will gather? How many people will gather to experience that? Or will the government come up with another new way of trying to control the multitudes? Now, as we are seeing,
and we do apologize towards the end.
KASARANI Stadium is empty. The people who come to view the body of Raila Amolo Odinga, they are no longer there. Some of them are outside. You can see some of them seated. But it's not as busy as it was in the beginning. It's not as much as it was in the beginning. So the questions that we are asking, what about tomorrow? What about on Saturday in Kisumu? And what about on Sunday in Bondo? Give us your views on what you feel will happen next. We'll be back with more directives. We'll be back with more information as it comes in.